Record stands at 12 wins, only 1 defeat, with 8 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight making his PBC debut, introducing Willie the Trill Shaw. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner in this 6-round attraction, wearing black trunks, gold trim, joining us from Brownsville, Texas. He weighed in the same as his opponent, 140 1/2 pounds. His fine record stands at 7 wins, no losses, with 4 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the undefeated Omar El Relámpago Juárez. And referee in charge.
Shots. And the only thing that he doesn't do is stay in town. He needs to stay a little bit more instead of running around, because while you run around the ring, you can't really set up for a punch. So he needs to slow the run around and, throw some punches.
I like that. Stay in town. Stick around. Don't leave town, kid. As Officer
Shaw. But Willie Shaw's a difficult guy. It could work against him, to say the truth. See, because he's got a good little straight right hand that he just landed on Omar there.
He did do that when he switched. He threw a good right hand when he switched. And he's got good movement as well.
Yeah, he does. He's a heck of an athlete. He'll tell you so.
He was a standout basketball player, and got a late start in boxing. Turned pro at 24. Again, 3 years older than Juárez is right now. And thereby Juárez, and Shaw able to roll with that nicely. We saw him, Omar Juárez, we saw him on the undercard of Wilder Ortiz 2. Took on Kevin Shax, and it looked like he was going to blitz Shax in the opening minute. Had him hurt, had him down twice. It ended up going 6 rounds, but obviously Shaw is giving him a very different look here, and he just can't bum rush Willie Shaw.
No, he's too much of an athlete. This is not a gimme fight for Omar Juárez by any means. And again, Shaw's got some good knockouts as well. I think he's got 9 knockouts in his limited career, because he's trying to figure a shot. He's not as easy to pin down as he thought he was.
And earlier in the round, guys, to your point, Joe and Lennox, Juárez was throwing hard, heavy shots, but when you're missing those shots, you can't just follow up. So you've got to respect the man, you've got to step back. So Shaw, with his head movement, making it difficult on Juárez, because Juárez is throwing, he's in 5th and 6th gear. He is throwing hard, but he is missing a lot of those shots.
Yeah, he needs to settle down a little bit and work the body. This is what he said he wanted to do, because he usually gets started a little bit too fast in his fights. So going to the body is a good idea for him.
Yeah, the thing is that in the last set, 2 sets ago, they got on the inside, and Juárez allowed himself to be tied up. He actually put his arms under the arms of Shaw and allowed himself to be tied up. He can't do that. He's got to keep his hands to himself.
You got to use that and throw some straight punches, because that was a good straight punch combination.
That's right. Shaw's a good fighter. He's given Omar a lot.
He's reactional. He gets hit, and then all of a sudden he throws a combination, which is good.
Willie Shaw again in the black and red trunks. Juárez in the black and gold. Right hand buzzes over the top. Shaw again, 28 years old, as Lennox mentioned. He's got a 3-inch reach advantage. He's only an inch taller. Juárez, though, you would figure has more firepower, but Shaw so far has been able to move in and out of danger against the heavy-handed kid.
Away from the ring, and then we've got 2 really big screens in front of us here. So if we decide to look down at the screens, we're going to see the action.
Joe, you're not telling people that there's a pole in front of you.
Well, you mean a corner? It's called a corner post, Lennox. But you know what? If they're not in that corner, we can see what's happening there. I think the vantage point is just fine. But excellent. But look,
you know what, Joe? You know what they used to call it? We're old enough to remember the obstructed view. You could get a cheaper ticket that way.
Right.
Juárez be doing here?
No, Juárez is doing the right thing, because sometimes he's being aggressive, and then sometimes he takes a rest and says, "Okay, Shaw, let me see what you got." And Shaw's really doesn't really do too much, so he goes back to doing what he does, which is applying the pressure, trying to get him against the ropes, trying to throw some body punches in there. So Omar's doing the right thing.
Yeah, except for one thing. See, now, Omar, you're right. He had Shaw against the ropes, and he let him sneak out the side. He backed off, gave him the room, and Shaw, just slid off the ropes. Once you get a guy on the ropes, you got a short fight like this. You're in the 4th round of a 6-round fight. You got to take advantage when you get a guy stuck on the ropes and go for it. And Omar backed off after a few punches.
This fight, he is landing 38% of his power shots. Shaw has landed single digits in every round, so he's just not doing enough damage, but he is making it slightly difficult on the 21-year-old kid.
See, Omar is really an exceptional fighter. He's got to do a few things. When you press a guy, you can't come in with that left hand low. You just don't feel secure enough. So sometimes you got to put your hands up when you press a guy, use a shorter jab, and let your combinations go. Right now, he's playing too much of a chess game with Willie Shaw if he's trying to go for the knockout.
Let's go to Marcos Villegas now. Marcos, how do you have it?
So far, I have it. Omar Juárez
should go for it.
Let's see what happens here. It's a final minute, and I just think the styles make fights. It's a cliche, but it's true, and Juárez wants to press, but you see Shaw's just skilled enough to avoid those shots, and you can't get the momentum that you want. And conversely, Shaw is just not gifted enough or heavy-handed enough to drive Juárez back.
No, he's not really throwing straight punches, and he's not stable on his feet. Anybody that switches from left to right and he's not really getting his feet under him before he throws the punches is not going to have a telling punch on his opponent. So if he wants to knock the guy, he's got to learn how to throw some body punches and some power punches, keeping his legs down. Right now, when he's throwing punches, he's lifting his legs up, so there's no power there.
Well, this is the point, though, too, to take a fight like this, Lennox, right? I mean, it's to get some learning in. You have to step up in class and face different styles and different fighters.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's going to learn a lot from this fight when he looks back on it.
Just as we saw with David Morrell against Lennox Allen in our opening. Omar Juárez gets the decision as expected. Willie Shaw just did not do enough offensively. Defensively,